They got called by people who actually have money on the line. Not a bunch of blue-haired, cat-owning losers living in mommy's basement with nose rings in that aren't going to buy a Star Wars toy or a Marvel toy or go see a Marvel movie or a Star Wars TV show anyway. This is being done because there is actually going to be real financial damage to these local television affiliates by advertisers going, no, we're pulling out because we will actually lose money. Renegade Online. Ladies and gentlemen, breaking news here. Disney ABC has pulled Jimmy Kimmel Live indefinitely after the host has some Charlie Kirk comments that didn't go over well. Isn't it surprising? I haven't even read the first line of this piece yet. We already know what it's talking about. Jimmy Kimmel, who is, frankly, in my personal opinion, Valiant Renegade's personal opinion, a terrible human being that is incapable of not only processing logic, but actually having any genuine empathy for the overwhelming vast majority of America out there. Jimmy Kimmel, who hates most of America out there. Jimmy Kimmel, who absolutely hates you if you voted for Donald Trump. Not all that terribly dissimilar from people like Destiny, right? This absolute twat of a streamer that's out there that actually went on Piers Morgan's live news television commentary show a couple of nights ago and said that it's your fault that Charlie Kirk is dead if you voted for Donald Trump. But Jimmy Kimmel, whether he says it on air or not, has made enough of a public statement that I think we can all reasonably derive a supposition that a person like Jimmy Kimmel, in his heart of hearts, even if he doesn't bleed it out publicly on air, I think that we can probably suppose that there is a better than average chance that a person like Jimmy Kimmel, let's be honest, may just feel exactly the same way as human garbage like Destiny does, and thinks that kind of thought like Destiny thinks, and publicly stated that if you voted for Donald Trump, well, then you're probably part of the reason that Charlie Kirk is dead. Let's see what's going on at the House of Mouse. The Walt Disney Company, who has been absolutely embroiled in a spate of its own self-made bullshit, okay, since Donald Trump got elected. The epic level of backpedaling at this garbage company, a company that was once the envy of Hollywood, the company that was once the envy of most every Fortune 500 company out there with its ability to market to families and children, has, just become a mouthpiece for the radical left again and again and again. Remember, Disney ABC, not only the same company that is Jimmy Kimmel, but the same company that has given us such intellectual gems, such fountains of intellectual prowess as The View. Well, let's see what happened here. Walt Disney Company's ABC said that it would take Jimmy Kimmel's popular late-night show off its schedule indefinitely after one of the biggest owners of TV stations in the U.S., Nexstar Media, said it would preempt airings of the program following remarks the host made about the killing of conservative activist Charlie Kirk. Let me tell you, Nexstar Media, for those of you that don't understand the dynamic here, Nexstar Media is one of the largest owners of television affiliates around the country. So you've got Disney that owns ABC proper, right? They own ABC, the main channel on the East Coast, ABC New York. They own the main ABC channel in California. I think in New York, it's WABC. And in California, of course, in Los Angeles, I think it's KABC, if I'm not mistaken. Again, for those of you that don't know the history of radio and television, if you are on the east side of the Mississippi River, your prefix on your radio or TV station is a W. If you are on the west side of the Mississippi River, your prefix is a K. Okay, so you've got WABC and I believe KABC. The other 200, whatever the hell it is in this country, local ABC affiliates are not all owned by Disney. Most local affiliates, whether you're CBS, NBC, ABC, Fox, etc., are not all owned, or the majority of them are not owned by the parent company that feeds the prime time programming, right? Your local affiliate does your local news. It may have some local television or public access shows on there, whatnot, but it is not a nationally owned entity. It's a franchise. It's a franchise like a McDonald's, a Wendy's, a Burger King, or Chick-fil-A or something like that. You know, you've got that national brand that then sells franchises to local business owners and entrepreneurs. Nexstar Media, although it's certainly not a small-time, small-town business owner, it is a collective owner of multiple franchises for ABC. Well, Nexstar said, you know what? Tell you what, Disney, we have this amount of clout, and we have decided, based on the markets that we serve, not only is Jimmy Kimmel, frankly, low on the ratings totem pole, but our viewers out there, we feel, and again, I'm totally speculating here, but I'm speculating based off of Nexstar's decision to do this. And I'm telling you, this is why a company like Nexstar would have decided to make this move. I haven't even gotten further in the article. We may find out once again that Valiant was right. Nexstar made a decision that our audience out there, and Nexstar may serve a lot of, I mean, look, it may say, well, you know, Nexstar's broadcast stations are in a lot of blue cities, but let me tell you what, y'all forget out there when it comes to these local affiliates. You know, for example, if you have an ABC affiliate here in New Orleans, which I don't think Nexstar has, I think the ABC affiliate here in New Orleans is probably part of Hearst. That might be the NBC one. I can't remember. But my point is that New Orleans might be the primary, you know, home market for that local affiliate. The reality is that all of the very not blue suburbs and communities around the deep blue of New Orleans are probably larger consumers of these local stations than the actual deep blue inner city urban shithole that is New Orleans. Places like Jefferson Parish, St. Charles Parish, St. Tammany Parish, Tangipahoa Parish. These are all very, very Republican, frankly, very MAGA-friendly areas. That's part of the New Orleans media market, and it is collectively a much larger part of the New Orleans media market than Orleans Parish or New Orleans itself. Now, I want you to take that and I want you to extrapolate it out over nearly every other major media market in the United States that Nexstar may represent. Keep that in mind. And they're probably reacting to their viewers that have said, we don't want to see this guy anymore, or we're not watching him anymore. And Nexstar looks like they've made a business decision. Nexstar has said Wednesday, that means today, Wednesday, September 17th, that it's, quote, owned and partner television stations affiliated with the ABC television network will preempt, meaning vamoosed, cut it off. They will put on reruns of Bob Ross before they do this, will preempt Jimmy Kimmel Live for the foreseeable future. Damn. Nexstar has just said, hey, Disney, hey, Dana Walden, we know you're really good friends with Kamala Harris. We know you really hate Donald Trump. We know you really hate red state America and red America. But hey, by the way, just so you know, you can take your Jimmy Kimmel programming and shove it right up your Brentwood Hollywood ass, because we're not broadcasting it anymore. Everybody in the audience, give them an applause. Let's go. Beginning with tonight's show. This is a quote. We're going to preempt Jimmy Kimmel Live for the foreseeable future, beginning with tonight's show. In other words, piss on Jimmy Kimmel and piss on ABC Disney, piss on Dana Walden, and piss on Bob Iger. Y'all are going to pull this clown off the air? Well, then you, we are. The company, Nexstar, says it strongly objects to recent comments made by Jimmy Kimmel concerning the murder of Charlie Kirk and will replace the show with other programming in its ABC-affiliated markets. This is look, y'all might think that y'all have a case here, but you don't. And if you don't like it, sue us. In his monologue Monday night, Jimmy Kimmel, and yeah, I saw this. There are so many of these things to go through since I got home from Tennessee. Oh, God. I'm going to have like a migraine tonight going through this just with Destiny. I know Araxis is like, Valiant, your temper. No. I know Araxis. I get it. Temper gone, bro. I'm thrilled. This is outstanding. This is the free market working. This is capitalism as it was intended to be. The market has spoken. A business has made an independent decision based on feedback from actual customers. And I want to stress this. Let me bring this up. Y'all need to listen to what I'm about to say. Y'all have heard me talk about this on Renegade Nation. I'm going to bring it on home here to Valiant Renegade. We are not the same. Us, regular America, and the radical left. We are not the same. There is no moral equivalency. We don't think the same. We don't behave the same. We don't react to things the same. Let me explain the difference between cancel culture and consequence culture, because that is what happened here, apparently. And we're going to keep going through this story. But y'all need to understand that cancel culture out there is something that the radical left engages in. They get a bunch of people, botted accounts, and frankly, people who will never watch, buy, consume your product to call up your office and say, you're evil white supremacists and you're transphobic and you're anti-gay and you hate black people and all this crap to get something shut down when nothing was done. Just because they perceived an opinion that they didn't like. You want proof? We've already proved it. If these people were really who they say they were and really had the clout they had, then explain to me again why Disney products like Strange World, like Lightyear, like the freaking Acolyte, and all these other things that Disney has farted out in the last few years that have been replete with LGBTQ bullshit politics, cramming down your throat, Star Wars' throat, Marvel's throat, your kids' throat, everything else they can imagine. Why weren't these products more successful? Why were they all failures? Because the people that scream and whine about wanting this stuff are the same people that scream and whine when other people out there simply question the veracity of putting these types of things into children's faces like normal Americans would. Hey, you know what? Maybe it's not a good idea for a company like Disney to go out and put LGBTQ stuff in content and programming that's intended for 5-year-olds. Yeah, maybe it's not a good idea. Maybe it's not a good idea. Oh no, we have to cancel that. No, let's go back to the story now. Here's the deal. This is the difference. The reason that this is not cancel culture, I promise you, is for the reasons that I just spent a little bit of time, about 10 minutes ago, elucidating. It is the fact that Nexstar, I guarantee you, has been called up by actual consumers, actual advertisers out there that have said, there's no way in holy hell that we want our local ads, which overwhelmingly serve and are targeted to middle and upper middle income or high income people in the viewing area of these affiliates, which means, quite frankly, mostly white suburban areas that are fed by these local networks. I guarantee you that they got called by people who actually have money on the line, not a bunch of blue-haired, cat-owning losers living in mommy's basement with nose rings in that aren't going to buy a Star Wars toy or a Marvel toy or go see a Marvel movie or a Star Wars TV show anyway. This is being done because there is actually going to be real financial damage to these local television affiliates by advertisers going, oh, no, we're pulling out because we will actually lose money. We will actually get hated. If you can find me one campaign from the left where they convinced advertisers to pull out of shit that didn't turn out to be a massive mistake later on because the advertisers were completely con-jobbed by fake botted leftist nonsense, right? Not the actual people that buy their products, but actual fake leftist botted crap. I'd love to see it. I'd love to see when that actually was a real thing. I will tell you right now, when people on the right talk about this, oh yeah, companies lose money. You don't believe me? Go back and look at what happened to Cracker Barrel in the last few weeks. You think Cracker Barrel slammed on the air brakes on that rebrand because there was nothing behind the anger and the outrage over what they were doing? Oh, no, they did it because they actually saw losses. They actually heard feedback from real customers who had been going to the restaurants for decades telling them, no, And they went, oh, shit, we shouldn't have listened to the stupid liberal woman that we hired as the CEO that came from Taco Bell. Probably need to fire her. P.S. She's probably not going to be there much longer, if I had to guess. This is what's going on here. Again, we are not the same. This is not the same as bullshit cancel culture that comes from the left. This is real. This is absolutely real. This is money. This is real money. In his monologue Monday night, Jimmy Kimmel said that the MAGA gang was trying to score political points off of Charlie Kirk's murder. Charlie Kirk, a prominent conservative activist, was shot and killed September 10th at a debate at UVU. 3 days later, authorities announced they had arrested a suspected shooter. By the way, again, to remind everybody, that suspected shooter, not as it was posited, of course, by people like Jimmy Kimmel, was not MAGA, which I'm still desperate to find out from the left how in the flaming hell they could even come to a logical conclusion that a MAGA fan would go out and shoot Charlie Kirk. Make that make sense. You can't? Okay. Jimmy Kimmel said, we hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang trying to characterize this kid who killed Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them. Oh, I'm sorry. No. Jimmy Kimmel probably didn't agree with that theory. He did. He said it on air. Jimmy Kimmel immediately went to the microphone once again as the consummate retard that he is. The consummate cuck beta male fruit that Jimmy Kimmel is. The constant embarrassment, in my opinion, that he must be to his wife and children that he is, and said this. Make it make sense, Jimmy. Oh, you can't anymore because you've been kicked off the air for being a short bus. Enjoy obscurity, Jimmy. You know what? If you couldn't even pull the same ratings as Stephen Colbert and Colbert got nixed, where the hell did you think your show was going to wind up? Jimmy Kimmel arguably had the safest job of the late night hosts in Hollywood because he worked for frickin' left-wing LGBTQ grooming Disney, and he just got shit canned. How about that? And like I said, absent any actual evidence, at least cited in the article, I can almost 1,000% guarantee you that my assessment of the specificity of how this went down, with Nexstar being reached out to by way too many people that actually pay Nexstar's bills. Again, not fake, astroturfed, left-wing, cancel culture bullshit, but actual real customers. The people that pay Nexstar's bills reached out and said, no, we're not supporting this, and we're telling you right now, our advertisers are checking out because their customers, their real customers, not astroturfed, leftist bullshit, but their real customers are actually calling in saying, get us off this shit. I hope Jimmy Kimmel enjoys retirement, or maybe he'll go start a Netflix show or some other crap out there. Somebody out there wants to go actually throw money at Stephen Colbert or Jimmy Kimmel to keep doing a show somewhere online. Let him go at it. But guys, I'm sorry. I have to tell y'all, the USAID money train is gone. So when you guys fail in real life, your options as far as where to go have gotten far more limited. I think it's fair to say that we've left the round phase in American media culture, and we have now firmly entered the find out phase. Make sure you're subscribed to Valiant Renegade and join us every Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern for the live show.